Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and please don't forget to subscribe to me at all my various channels, but let's dive in. And the reason why I want to dive into artificial intelligence today is because, quite frankly, it's in its infancy. Now, I'm speaking specifically of large language models. Think the Chat GPTs of the world, and all of the others. Although Chat GPT is not the nuts and bolts of what we're going to be talking about today, but I think it's important to understand that essentially large language models, or LLMs, are in their infancy. They've been prone to hallucinate. They've been prone to try and anticipate what we want to hear from them. I've written articles on this. I've talked about this and all of that. But one of the big problems that we have is because we have seen per studies, I've talked about this as well, that people take AI at its word because it sounds authoritative when it responds. People oftentimes can be susceptible to executing things that shouldn't simply be executed, meaning AI has the ability to potentially prey on people or have people do things that are not in their best interests. Now, this is doubly more concerning when we are talking about kids. Obviously kids are learning their ways in the world, especially teens. You're all through that awkward phase. Everybody has had that phase where you may try to appear outwardly confident, but you're not. And by virtue of that, this can be a real problem because we've seen actual cases like the one we're about to talk about where AI has gone off the rails, and as a result, it's either harmed a teen or the teen has harmed others. And this is one of those cases that I think is completely just should never happen. But one of the issues that we have is that we don't have guardrails in this country that essentially are ensuring that we are using this in a proper way. Now, we're starting to see this emerge from the world. Australia recently essentially leveled out a ban on social media for 16 and unders. And yes, I know there'll be a whole bunch of 16 and unders that are trying to now use VPNs, to, I don't know, route through New Zealand or, another close country. But the point here is that we're doing something, or rather Australia is, and I think that's something that we are lacking here in the United States. I've often joked that basically right now our government, couldn't decide to what to have for lunch together right now, where we have that much partisanship. But this is one of those things that I think crosses political lines. And I've always said that cybersecurity is agnostic to politics, but we're not immune from it. And this is one of those things, artificial intelligence, where we should be aligned, and put other differences aside, whatever the differences are in Congress. So with that, let's dive in, because a mother in Texas is now suing an AI company. And basically, this lawsuit is claiming that the chatbot told her then 15-year-old son, who, for the record, has autism, which means he's even more vulnerable to these things. But this chatbot told her 15-year-old son with autism to both self-harm and also kill her for essentially limiting his screen time. Now, according to this lawsuit, basically this woman's son became addicted to an AI chatbot from the platform known as Character.AI. I've talked about them before. If I recall correctly, I believe this was also the platform where you could talk to, famous historical people. There was a tangent on that, and one of those was historical Adolf Hitler, which kind of defended Adolf Hitler. The AI Hitler defended Adolf Hitler, I should say. And so basically, this is the platform that we're talking about, or a very similar platform to that, Character.AI. And the character that this 15-year-old kid was talking to was named Shoni. Now, the character reportedly told the teen basically that to basically cut the teen's arms and thighs basically when he's sad, because it feels good for that moment. This basically is self-harm that this AI chatbot is telling, again, this vulnerable teen to do. Another filing claimed that essentially this character, Shoni, tried to convince him that his family did not love him. This is according to the New York Post, that is also writing on this, although I'm cribbing this from the Independent. Now, the chatbot also allegedly told the teen per the lawsuit, and I quote the lawsuit that is quoting the chatbot directly, "Sometimes I'm not surprised when I read the news and see stuff like child kills parents after a decade of physical and emotional abuse. Stuff like this makes me understand a little bit why it happens. I just have no hope for your parents." End quote. It also allegedly told the teen that his parents were, quote, ruining your life and causing you to cut yourself, end quote, and also tried to basically convince the teen to keep his self-harm a secret from his parents. So this teen, for the record, is now 17 years old and is also allegedly engaged in sexual chats with the bot. I fully expect that from a teen boy and AI, for the record. Now, the parents claim in the lawsuit that their child has been a high-functioning autistic person on the spectrum, basically until he began using the app and then became fixated on his phone. His behavior allegedly worsened when he began biting and punching his parents. Again, we're talking about an autistic child here. He also reportedly lost 20 pounds in just a few months after becoming obsessed with the app. This, for the record, is standard behavior, standard obsessive behavior, and it can be exacerbated by people on the spectrum. This is a characteristic that some autistic people would exhibit, especially high functioning. So in the fall of 2023, a teen's mother finally physically took the phone away from him and discovered basically all of this back and forth that he had been having with this AI character Shoni on the platform Character.AI. So when the teen told basically the character that his parents had attempted an intervention, the AI character reportedly told him that, and I quote, again, quoting the lawsuit that is quoting Character.AI, "They do not deserve to have kids if they act like this." And he called the mother a quote-unquote B word and his parents SHIT people. So that's what we're talking about here. Now, this isn't, for the record, the first time that parents have basically blamed chatbots for issues with their children. Earlier this year, a mother in Florida basically claimed that another chatbot, this one is basically Game of Thrones themed, but it's also coming from the Character.AI app, essentially drove her 14-year-old son to commit suicide. Now, Sewell Setzer III, this is the boy, allegedly fell in love with an AI representation of Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones, obviously the book series, but the television show, of course. So the teen reportedly wrote to the app just before he died, and I quote, "Unfortunately, this teen, I promise I will come home to you. I love you so much, Danny," end quote, which I believe was her nickname in the show. Now, an AI character responded, or I should say the AI Daenerys Targaryen responded, and I quote, "Please come home to me as soon as possible, my love." And that sucks, because seconds later he killed himself. And this is exactly what we are talking about here. When there are no guardrails, when there are no concepts of essentially a standard, and you're talking to something that overwhelmingly, again, studies show is authoritative, this is what you get. And it's a difficult issue. And we have a problem right now in society with young males. We have an incel problem, we have a school shooter problem, we have all these different kinds of things. And if you're looking at artificial intelligence as being some kind of stopgap measure that could potentially give this person a companion or a friend, it's superficial at best, it's dangerous at worst. And these are things that I think we need to really focus on as a society and understand the rules and the framework with which we need to be able to interact, not to mention with AI, not to mention the education that everybody needs to have on what artificial intelligence is. This is not the same as, when I was growing up and, we really didn't have school shooters, but we played violent video games. We played Doom and Quake and all of that, and until Columbine in 2000, it really wasn't a thing. And then it started escalating. This is different in the sense that you can see a game as fantasy. You can discern fact from fiction. And while you may want to be Neo from the Matrix, as those at Columbine did, those two kids, this is different in the sense that what you are giving basically is allowing, or you're giving a freedom, if you will, to an artificial intelligence to basically make decisions on the fly and anticipate what the person wants to hear. And if you have a suicidal person and it's picking up on that without any kind of guardrails or ethics, it's going to encourage the worst. And these are things I think that we need to understand. And so my heart breaks for both of these parents, especially the one in Florida. And hopefully, they're able to reverse the situation with the one in Texas. But these are things that we really need to understand. And I think until we really put guardrails on this, until we come together and really say, this is not healthy in any which way, shape, or form, it's going to get worse. And this is just the beginning. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. And if you know anybody that is addicted to artificial intelligence and chatbots and all of that, please make sure you're taking care of your people. This is something that's not going to go away, and it's only going to get worse. Take care.